Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Who would have thought that a series of videos and images posted by the Prime Minister would snowball into a full-blown bilateral issue? But after Maldivian ministers and politicians hurled racist slurs and derogatory comments at India and PM Modi, the unprovoked hate has sparked outrage both in India and Maldives. Days after 3 ministers were suspended for shooting from the hip, the blowback went beyond social media. While yesterday it was celebrities exhorting one and all to explore Indian islands, today bodies from hospitality industry in India have called for a boycott of Maldives for the insult. Now, data shows that Indians top the Maldives tourist arrival figures, with more than 2 lakhs of them visiting the island nation every year after the COVID-19 pandemic. And therefore, the impact of this backlash on the travel hotspot could be crippling.
I think this could be a blessing in disguise, that no one is going to take the risk of going to a country where people are hostile.
So how much loss from the business point of view Maldives will suffer if India boycotts?
I think more than $1 billion.
Lakshadweep has seen a remarkable 3,400% increase in searches ever since our Honorable PM visited the islands. So this kind of inspired us to build an entire campaign around it. So we are launching Beaches of India.
We thought that we owe it to the country to be the country first and then business later. We have taken a stance of not serving 2.9 lakh people who travel to Maldives, and Is My Trip being one of the largest travel portals in the country, we surely will see a hit on the business. But we believe that in long term, it is great for the business, it is great for the nation. As the supply for Lakshadweep develops, as the supply for Andaman Nicobar develops, we will see the uptick come back.
And then the Maldivian High Commissioner to India was summoned by the External Affairs Ministry. He was told about the strong concern over remarks against Prime Minister Modi. And as per those in the know of proceedings, he was shown the door in just 4 minutes. Amidst the row, the Indian High Commissioner to Malé also held a meeting said to be quote-unquote pre-arranged with a senior Maldivian diplomat. Maldivian Foreign Ministry has said that the government is aware of derogatory remarks and that the personal views do not represent its position. Several leaders have gone on record to apologize for the comments.
So I do want to apologize, and across the political spectrum, political parties and politicians, we've all condemned these derogatory remarks by the minister in the government of Maldives. I do hope that these remarks by the minister will be a one-off, and it won't be a reflection of either the Maldivian people or even the government of Maldives.
I remember projects such as the Indira Gandhi Memorial Hospital, IGMH, and many other such landmarks. In the defense area, there has been close cooperation, as we already know. This relationship is very special to us, and I hope that this current crisis will be resolved at the earliest.
Now, everybody from the government to the opposition in Maldives may have apologized and acted against the hate mongers, almost an acknowledgement of guilt. But the opposition in India only sees Modi government at fault from the opposition. These are developments that are not due to racist commentary by Maldivians, but a failure of the Modi government's foreign policy. The BJP has called it proof of opposition's willingness to malign India to target Modi.
ये मालदीव के साथ हमारे दशकों पुरानी जो रिश्ता, उसमें भी दरार पैदा होते जा रहे हैं। मोदी जितने भी G20 करे, जितने भी बड़े-बड़े वादा करे, विश्वगुरु जितने भी बने, लेकिन हमारे स्थिति बड़े नाजुक होते जा रहे हैं।
When it comes to Maldives, it's an international affairs thing, and Congress should behave more maturely when it comes to that. So in the Maldives, the present dispensation in the Maldives has been kind of anti-India in few of their moves, I would say, or few of their statements. If someone acts like this, there'll be a repercussion in this.
All right, let's go across to our panelists now. Joining us is Tushar Gupta, political analyst. Brahma Chalani, strategic affairs expert, is with us. Tehseen Purawala, political analyst, joins us. Vivek Srivastav, political analyst, joins us. Kishore Tiwari, spokesperson of Shiv Sena UBT, is also with us. But I want to go first and foremost to Poonam Pandey, actor and model, because there have been a number of celebrities who've been tweeting on this issue. And Poonam Pandey, my first question is to you. When you were putting out that tweet saying that you will not go to Maldives and you would want your next shoot to be in Lakshadweep, what was going on in your mind? What is it that you were so outraged about? Because clearly, of course, there are comments that are extremely insulting in nature. But I just want to understand your thought process at that time when you were putting out that tweet.
See, I mean, I have shot in Maldives a lot of times. Possibly, I can say I've done like good 70 to 80 calendars. Insane amount of shooting, because being a bikini model, you know, it was. But this time, like, I had a shoot now at the end of the month. See, I mean, cutting this short, all I can say is, as an Indian citizen, you know, if you hear such sort of derogatory remarks, it's serious. If they can just come up and write something on a public panel, like so effortlessly, I mean, as an Indian citizen, yes, I don't think I'm very happy about it.
Absolutely. And did you ever, in your number of shoots that you've done over there, encounter any such feeling? And were you shocked when you heard prominent ministers, not just even, you know, any normal trolls, but these are ministers who are mouthing these slurs?
Exactly. That's. I mean, you know, we give them the kind of economy we have boosted. You know, for it's such an unfortunate thing. You know, that it's okay. Take it. Don't be grateful, but at least don't disrespect. I mean, how could you just go out and just speak about someone's prime minister like this so effortlessly? I mean, how?
Absolutely, and in fact, insulting an entire country. Tehseen, I want you to comment on this.
Exactly.
You would have seen those offensive posts, you know, whether they're talking about gobar, whether they're talking about how rooms stink, you know, all sorts of bizarre comments that are being made there by ministers, no less. You know, and you still have a situation where several political leaders from the JDU, from the Congress are questioning the Modi government's foreign policy. How does that really add up?
I see. I mean,
I want Tehseen to comment on this, Poonam.
I'm not a political person.
Yeah. So Poonam, that question is for Tehseen. Please allow him to comment.
So good evening. Thank you for having me on the show, Madhav, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. Good to see you. And Poonam, good to see you after lockup. So long time.
Hi, how you doing?
But yeah, hi. Good. But yeah, quickly, 2 or 3 points. First of all, what the Maldivian junior ministers made were absolutely racist and shocking comments, and no Indians stand by them. So kudos to those Indians who are not going there and standing up. But kudos to you, Poonam. So that's a fair decision. I also think that as a nation, we've all united and we don't want anyone to be insulted. So we do stand up for, and the Prime Minister didn't do anything wrong. The Prime Minister hasn't uttered a word about Maldives. He was in Lakshadweep promoting an Indian territory, and that's what he should do. So I think the Prime Minister is doing his duty despite me being opposed to him. So I think that's fine. I think where the opposition is legitimately asking questions is on 3 very pertinent counts where the government hasn't been able to answer. Number one, we knew that in Maldives, a government that was not favorable to us was coming in for some time. This issue with Go India, the Go India campaign isn't a new one, Madhav, as you know. It's been going on for the last 2 years, especially after the entire internet row started when India went in there to make sure that Chinese wasn't sort of hacking our internet, etc. in Maldives. I don't want to get into those details. What was the raw desk doing? This is time and again a pattern where the raw desk is failing with Nepal, with the issue, with the constitutional issue. Even in Doklam, our Indian army and the Prime Minister stood up to China. What happened? Bhutan's given that territory away. So you're asking a larger question. The global south, the Middle East, the Prime Minister's done a fabulous job.
Tehseen, what are you saying? You want India to intervene in domestic political issues of a neighboring country?
I don't want. I never said that.
What is the implication when you say raw has failed?
Okay, 1 second. I'll tell you what I'm saying. When you know that when the entire campaign started 2 years ago, this is not a new campaign. Your viewers must know that. Let's be honest with the viewers. This campaign has started more than 2 years ago when we were scared that China was hacking the internet, when we had those issues, when the teams went in, we had the telecom minister in the previous regime saying things. We knew what was happening. It was a duty that we had to calm down tempers and reach out to this new government. So that part, it's not just with Maldives, it's with a lot of other countries where we give the Prime Minister credit, Global South, Middle East, countries, fabulous job. Here we got to point out where the deficiencies are with the foreign affairs, with the raw desk. Number 2, just very, very pertinent. We also have while we boycott Maldives, and great, that is okay. Please understand a lot of resorts are owned by Indians. There are about 30,000 Indians working there. So we have to also safeguard our economic interests. But most importantly, strategically, Maldives is very important to us. We cannot completely burn bridges.
Okay, I'm going to come to the strategy in just a minute. Let's go point by point. I want Brahma Chalani to come in on this point. Brahma Chalani, Tehseen Poonawala feels that we have failed. We have failed as a country to look after our own interest in a strategically important neighbor in the Indian Ocean. How far do you agree with him when he says that our external agencies have failed in communicating our point of view, that this India out policy could have been in some way controlled by agencies? Because many would say that this is a democratic process. How much can any country interfere in another country's democratic process?
The Maldives has been becoming increasingly radicalized over the last 15, 20 years. This has been a long process. For example, according to the previous government in Mali, Maldives sent more fighters to Syria and Iraq to fight the wars there than any other country in per capita terms. So we have seen this Islamist tendencies grow in the Maldives, and that is exactly why the present government came to power. It's an Islamist-leaning government that pandered to Islamist sentiment in the Maldives. They had this India Out campaign as part of their radicalization effort to get the radical vote out. It is not for Indian agencies to interfere in the domestic affairs of any country, let alone an important neighbor of India like the Maldives. The Maldives is strategically very important to India, but we should not forget that India is critical to the Maldives. Without Indian support, without India sustaining the Maldivian economy, Maldives will go bankrupt. We have tremendous leverage over the Maldives, but we have to use that leverage wisely. We have a number of ongoing projects in the Maldives. We cannot act in a manner that would undermine our interests. Yet, the kind of remarks that have been made, the attacks on India, not just on Prime Minister Modi, but on India, comparing India to cow dung, for example, by one of the junior ministers of the present government, all the kind of things that have been said about Prime Minister Modi, I don't think anybody in India, certainly not in the present government in New Delhi, would forget that. Yet, we cannot have a knee-jerk response to what has happened. After all, there appears to be a pattern. Normally, you have a minister in some country speaking unwisely or saying things that are completely insane. But here, three ministers, as if acting in concert, attacked India and Modi, as if they were attacking India at the behest of the president. Or the three ministers involved in the attacks, two are women ministers who are very close to the president. They're often seen in the Maldives as the president's messengers, his mouthpieces. The fact that these attacks on India happen on the eve of the president's China trip might raise the question whether he was trying to convey a message to China that his government is anti-India.
Very important.
Because
Very important point, sir.
He wants to gain certain agreements in Beijing. So the fact that the president left for Beijing,
yes,
while maintaining his silence on the attacks on India,
right,
is pretty telling.
Right. Right, and in fact, that's a very important point, because there are some reactions coming from Beijing as well, I'm told. In fact, we'll try and put out those reactions during the course of the show. But I want to bring in Vivek Srivastav on that point. Vivek Srivastav, now this is a very clear pattern. Brahma Chalani has put the facts before us. On the eve of the Maldivian president's China visit, two of his close ministers and a third one, perhaps acting in concert, perhaps it's a coincidence, we don't know. But certainly there are serious questions as to why they are doing this. Is it because at the end of the day, it's at the behest of those powers that want to see Maldives aligned with China? Because this hasn't happened for the first time. We've seen A, the demand that armed forces are pulled out. B, the fact that this is perhaps the first president in a very long time who hasn't made his first port of call visit here in India, but in fact goes to Turkey, goes to China, hasn't even bothered to come to India. So there is obviously quite a bit that is at play here.
Right. See, I would not like to say if it's a ploy or a strategy, there's a strategy behind the whole thing that it happened. But yes, I mean, you are right. For the last 2 years, you have a China-backed government over there in Maldives. They're very close to China. A lot of loans, a lot of funding has been coming from there. We are having a lot of problem financially right now also, for which they're again approaching China. This is what I mean, the research that we were doing today and it came to my light. However, I don't think that this present controversy regarding our Prime Minister is in any way linked to that particular part. Because you see, the moment our government summoned the High Commissioner of Maldives, they were very quick to act. And they acknowledged that what has happened is wrong and an action needs to be taken, and the minister stepped down. So they have given full respect to the Indian government. That is one thing you need to see. So it was not an official stand of the government of Maldives. It was a couple of ministers who made the statement and they got the lesson for it. So
I think Mr. Chilani wants to reply to you on one point that you're making. Vivek, one second. Let Mr. Chilani respond and then you can come in. Mr. Chilani.
Sure.
First, the 3 ministers have only been suspended. They remain part of the cabinet. Now, how do you suspend ministers? I've never heard of that. This is not a high school where you discipline some children by suspending them. You are either in the cabinet or you are out of the cabinet. In this case, the so-called suspended ministers remain in the cabinet. So that is what is outrageous. The fact that despite calls at home...
So they've not been sacked, they've been suspended. Yeah.
The president has
been
not
suspended.
ousted them.
You need to give time to them to act, and if our government again needs a clarification, I'm sure it will be done. However, I mean, if you want to start losing all your allies, all your neighbors, and you don't want to maintain good relations, Bhutan is not with you anymore. I mean, as per the strategic things what Tehseen just was talking about, Nepal doesn't listen to you, Pakistan and China I don't want to discuss, and the latest is Maldives. And plus, this militant Hindutva ideology that the present right-wing government is trying to, market, it does not have many international buyers. I don't think it is very popular. I've seen examples in Canada, temples in UK, United States of America, Maldives, and so many others. So, I mean, you are not able to, very clearly I'm saying it, I might sound bad.
So temples and gurdwaras that are attacked are because of Hindutva, or because they are practitioners of other belief systems that are actually attacking them, Vivek Srivastava?
Absolutely, it is wrong to attack our temples and our gurdwaras. It should not happen. However, when something starts happening post-2014 suddenly, which never happened in the last 70 years, and our religion was a very respected one always, across the world.
It's not now according to you?
Upon us.
Is no longer respected according to you?
Oh, I told you that day in the debate that there are 2 Rams now, the Ram of Mahatma Gandhi and the Ram of Godse.
Okay.
So now if you
Let me bring in Tushar. Tushar, the militant, aggressive Hindutva ideology does not work in our neighborhood, and perhaps that's why we are, there are very big strains or difficulties coming in with our neighbors, whether it's Bhutan, whether it's Nepal, whether it's Sri Lanka, whether it's Maldives. So this is part of a larger pattern. Please respond to Vivek Srivastava.
Good evening, Madhav. Let me remind the viewers of Time Now that when Hindus in UK were being attacked by Islamists, their houses were being pelted with stones, Mr. Vivek Srivastava here on a Times Now debate said that the Leicesterites are happening because people dislike Modi and his ideology. So he justified those attacks. So that should settle the debate on how this communist thinks. But since he's talking about the larger pattern, I'll address the larger pattern here. Since 2014, India's economic stature has only increased across the globe. Its diplomatic stature has increased across the globe, and consequently, our socio-economic prowess has also increased across the world. It has been acknowledged by leaders all the world over. That has been the trend since 2014. Now, I agree that Maldives should be a strategic partner, but let's not fool ourselves into believing that the government in Maldives is anyway pro-India. It's pro-China. Their election campaign was also an evidence of that. Now, I agree that in the Indian Ocean, Maldives has to be a strategic partner. But that doesn't give Maldives the right, to criticize the Prime Minister, to treat the Indian market like a doormat. If they are so having such disdain for the people of India who visit there, give them their business, they have no right to have a business. Right, Madhav? Now, let me draw a parallel. My last and final point. Let me draw a parallel. In 2013, PM Nawaz Sharif made a very derogatory remark for Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. A very derogatory remark. At that time also the Congress party was quiet. It was Chief Minister of Gujarat, Narendra Modi, who said that I can have several disagreements with Manmohan Singh, but I will not sit here and accept that Nawaz Sharif will make such hateful remarks against my Prime Minister who comes from the Congress. Today, when the ministers of Maldives government have made some derogatory remarks against our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, what is the Congress doing? It's questioning the response by the people, not by the government.
Let me bring in Kishore Tiwari on that. Let me bring in Kishore Tiwari. I think that's a debatable point. Let Kishore Tiwari respond to Tushar Gupta on that. Kishore Tiwari, earlier in the past, when there have been insults coming in from foreign soil, from Pakistan to be specific, in 2013, Tushar Gupta says it was Prime Minister now Modi, who was then the Chief Minister of Gujarat, who defended Indian Prime Minister. Why is there no sense of bipartisanship that we see even when there are insults coming from foreign soil? That's the question he is asking. Mr. Tiwari.
Madhav, I am agree with Tushar. Any remark against our Prime Minister by the foreign ministers of the Maldives, I condemn it. My party condemn it. But the issue is that in Southeast Asia, larger interest, we have lost the our relationship, as Vivek told, with Sri Lanka, then Nepal, Bhutan, now Maldives. I think so. This is a delicate issue, and our foreign ministry is if only working on a social media or the celebrities' remark, then it becomes difficult. In fact, this is.
Sir, celebrities की क्या गलती है इसमें? Celebrities have made a mistake according to you.
Be treated like a doormat. Why is it difficult? No, why is it difficult, Madhav?
No, I'm asking him.
Why should the people of India be treated as doormats by a foreign entity?
Mr. Tiwari, please respond.
What I am talking about.
People, the celebrities who are responding on Twitter are the ones who have been going to Maldives, giving their business to the people of Maldives. Why should they accept this insult?
Hey, Tushar, our government has
responded. तिवारी जी, मालदीव्स में हमारे सेलिब्रिटी जाते हैं, हमारी जनता जाती है, उनको अपना बिजनेस देती है, वहां खर्चा करती है, उनकी इकोनॉमी को मदद करती है. तो मालदीव के जब मिनिस्टर उन्हीं लोगों का अपमान करते हैं, तो लोगों को क्यों सहना चाहिए?
Poonam Pandey also. I would like to bring in Poonam Pandey to respond to you. Poonam Pandey, what would you say to Mr. Tiwari? Yeah, what would you say to Mr. Tiwari?
अरे भाई, उन्होंने भारत सरकार ने विरोध किया, उन्होंने अपने मिनिस्टर को सस्पेंड किया, लेकिन तुषार जी तुम देखते हो ना,
विरोध किया।
अरे वहां की सरकार ने, और भारत में जो हो रहा है,
लोगों ने विरोध किया।
अरे भाई, भारतीय लोग ही वहां पर रिसोर्ट चला रहे हैं, सब धंधे भारतीयों के ही है, लेकिन लक्षद्वीप का प्रमोशन एक अच्छी बात थी, लेकिन प्राइम मिनिस्टर के खिलाफ उन्होंने बोला, उसकी तो मैं निंदा कर रहा हूं, लेकिन भारत ने अपने मालदीव से संबंध बिगाड़े हैं, ये बात भारत में सबको मालूम पड़ रही है।
कैसे बिगाड़े सर? हमने
हमारे
एक करके आप सेलिब्रिटीज पे सवाल उठा रहे हैं, इसलिए आई वांट टू ब्रिंग इन वन सेकंड, जस्ट अ सेकंड तुषार, आई जस्ट वांट टू ब्रिंग इन पूनम पांडे बिकॉज़ ही हैज रेज्ड अ क्वेश्चन ऑन सेलिब्रिटीज एज दो दे आर सम टूल ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. वन सेकंड, वन बाय वन. पूनम, प्लीज रिस्पॉन्ड टू मिस्टर तिवारी. तुषार, कमिंग टू यू, जस्ट होल्ड योर थॉट्स फॉर अ मिनट. आई वांट पूनम टू रिस्पॉन्ड टू मिस्टर तिवारी डायरेक्टली. पूनम पांडे.
See, what you're saying now, Mr. Tiwari, is normal people and celebrities. What I'm trying to tell you is, sir, it's not normal people and celebrities.
तिवारी जी सुन लीजिए, आपने सवाल उठाए हैं, सुन लीजिए उनकी बात.
राइट, वी ऑल आर इंडियन सिटीजन. सो अगर हमें बुरा जितना लगा है, उतना हर एक इंसान को इस वक्त इस देश में लगा है. वो अपने तरीके से अपनी आवाज उठा रहे हैं, हम हमारी तरीके से उठा रहे हैं. एज सिंपल एज दैट. वी ऑल हैव फेल्ट बैड अबाउट इट. आई मीन, देयर वाज नो रीजन, देयर वाज नो
भक्त लोग हैं, आप सब मोदी भक्त हो भाई. अरे सब मोदी भक्त तो जागे, सब मोदी भक्त ही जागे.
चलो बोल दिया, हाँ मैं हूँ, क्या प्रॉब्लम है उसमें? हूँ मैं.
अरे वाह, आपको भी नहीं ईडी का डर लगता है या?
सारे सेलिब्रिटीज मोदी भक्त हैं किशोर जी, जितने सेलिब्रिटीज हैं, अमिताभ बच्चन से लेकर सचिन तेंदुलकर, वीरेंद्र सहवाग, सारे स्पोर्ट्स स्टार, सारे फिल्म एक्टर्स, सब मोदी भक्त हैं.
सर, अगर हमारे देश के बारे में कोई कुछ बोलता है
अरे
as
मैंने
an
भी
Indian
निंदा की
citizen,
ना।
as a Bharatiya
अरे
person,
पूनम
हो
what do you
सकता है
think
सर
that he
सर
should-
शायद हो सकता है ये
लेकिन
देशभक्त हो।
तुम भी
you
डर
should
गई
not
मोदी
react.
से।
No, tell me,
आपने
sir.
सोचा है कि शायद हो सकता है ये देशभक्त भी हो।
तुम तो जेल से
No,
डर
you tell
गई
me.
भाई।
Then
तुम
we
तो
should.
जेल से डर
You
गई।
think we should not react?
No, this
No,
is
you
not
should
fair. Mr.
react.
Tiwari, this is Mr. Tiwari.
I am also reacting.
In fact, let me
But,
bring in.
Exactly,
are
sir.
you reacting?
So basically, we are here. We are all showing because we are angry right now.
Madhav,
You know,
we
the
have
anger is
lost
coming out in all sorts of ways.
A good friend, a very good
I want
friend.
Tehseen to respond to you. Mr. Tiwari, I want Tehseen. Tehseen, you were just applauding the celebrities a few moments ago for their right to support whoever they want to do whatever they want. Here you have Mr. Tiwari now attributing motive to the celebrities who are tweeting against boycotting Maldives.
Look, I know Poonam personally to an extent. I don't think she can be pressurized to do anything. She's chose to do it. Kudos to her. She doesn't want to do it. That's her wish. Why would you? Why don't let's not?
You know me,
Yeah. And are you saying Mr. Bachchan or Mr. Tendulkar are going to be pressurized? That's not our issue. Let's focus on the larger issue. Look, this is our country. Somebody attacked our prime minister. We felt bad. Now everyone reacts differently.
Exactly.
People reacted differently. That is not the issue. What is important for our viewers to understand is, and as Brahmaji rightly said, is
all right. And there's some breaking news coming in. Mr. Tiwari, there's some breaking news coming in. In fact, this is the Global Times has just put out a tweet saying that Maldives wants to promote their tourism. They want to increase the living standards of its people and make sure it will be sustainable. This is something that all of us, including countries like India and China, need to fully respect. So no prizes for guessing what's the idea here. No prizes, because this is pretty much the mouthpiece of China that is speaking here. We'll have to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen, because we're completely out of time. I think if there was any doubt in anyone's mind as to what was going on in Maldives or their support coming in from China, I think it's very clear, quite evident with this tweet. Tushar Gupta, Brahma Chalani, Poonam Pandey, Tehseen Poonawala, Vivek Srivastava, Kishore Tiwari, thanks so much for joining us this evening.